inside and just noses ahead. But what can they do under braking? Because
the Porsche surely has got the right position.
Absolutely is in the right position.
Interesting for me is Tommy Milner coming to join this party as they go hard on the brakes. The noses of the cars dip down. Now behind Tommy Milner is Alexandra Premat.
Absolutely, and behind Alexandra Premat is Augusto Farfus.
So we have now the top 5 in GTLM, line astern on the high banks of Daytona. Oh, this is what we came to see. If you're just coming back listening on 107.9 or XM Sirius around the circuit or further afield, just coming up to 20 minutes before 9 through the tri-oval, the bonnet on the hood on the Corvette just bouncing around a little bit is the top 5. 20 wheels of GTLM action into the first part of the lap here at Daytona.
And if this goes on for a lap or two longer, John, we're going to have not 5 but 7 cars in that train, because coming up towards the rear of these 5, Victor Scheitar, the number 72 SMP Racing Ferrari 488, and the 911 Porsche in the hands of Ken Estre. So it has doled out the performance we hoped for and expected all night and into the morning. The GTLM class. Yes, of course, it's slightly assisted by the caution, but that should not take away from the quality of the racing we've seen from this class from the off. Dramas early on for both of the Fords, as we said, and then a huge drama for the number 100 BMW, which eliminated that car from the race in the night. And now looking at the GTD battle, it's the number 44 Magnus Racing Audi at the moment leads the way. 16th overall for Andy Lally, and in line astern behind him Andy Pilgrim in the 540 Porsche.
Another hour of racing about to elapse. There'll be 6 hours to go after Joe Bradley has checked in with this Continental Tire pit lane report. Fairly quiet with you, Joseph?
Yes, very much so. Just before you came in, John, we the guys and I had a little bit of a conversation about the fact that when I went for my little snooze, the leaderboard looked exactly the same when I returned 4 or 5 hours later. And that's because this race is such a tactical race, where you've just got to, it's all about being in the right position for the last hour. And that's when we saw the number 5 car, the Action Express car of Christian Fittipaldi, coming in on what we thought was an out-of-sequence pit stop. So we asked the team, and basically the crew chief told me, it depends where you want to be. Now, if you think back to last year and the Wayne Taylor Racing car, and where they ended up and having to do that pit stop to keep within the driver regulations, that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of being swept along until the very end and finding out where you are for that last hour and sorting it out, or like what we've just seen perhaps the 5 team do, sorting it out now and putting yourself in that position and projecting where you're going to be for the hour. You could sit around sit in a pub over many pints of ale discussing this.
Continental Tire Pit Lane Team on IMSA Radio. The WeatherTech Sportscar Championship on IMSA Radio.
Well, good morning if you're just getting back to what has been an extraordinary race here at Daytona for the 2016 IMSA WeatherTech Championship season opener. It's the 54th running of the Rolex 24 Daytona, and the battle for GTLM has, well, it looks like we're at the opening race, at the opening moves of the Daytona 500, 2 by 2 through the tri-oval, and a change of lead in GTLM, and a change of second place as the 2 Corvettes go through. Fred Mack, I think he started the run onto the banking ahead and now is in 3rd position. There is 0.2 of a second, that's half a second between the top 5. Half a second between the top 5 as they went across the line in GTLM. That looked more like a stock car race than an endurance race.
Staggering. The last time around, they were 29 thousandths apart, and it was actually in favour of the number 3 Corvette, the Porsche beat him to the punch, though, under braking into turn 1. But the two Corvettes teed that up beautifully.
And now at the front of the field overall, the top three are together, and Pipo Derani tries to go around the outside into the bus stop. That's not going to work. And behind them, Jordan Taylor sees his opportunity to close up in the dark coloured number 10. So 5, Christian Fittipaldi, Action Express. 2, Pipo Derani in the number 2 ESM, the Patron green and black car. Then Jordan Taylor in the 10. Win Taylor Racing. Derani gets the draft, goes to the high side through the tri-oval, down towards turn 1. Again, for a moment, looks like he's got position, but very sensibly, Fittipaldi just eases him out, and here comes Taylor on the inside of turn 1, onto the infield, starting another 3.5 mile lap. Their 540th as we move inside the last 6 hours of this race, which is already a classic.
Trouble for 31. 31 is trailing smoke behind these guys.
And this is Johnny Adam in 4th position, the Scotsman, the Aston Martin Works driver, through the kink and down towards the West Horseshoe. He's just ahead of these battling leaders, trying to stay on the lead lap.
No,
and
he's behind them. He's behind them.
Is
John.
he behind them?
Yes,
right,
he is.
okay.
He was well in contention as he pulled out of turn 2 with smoke from the rear of the 31 car.
Let's keep a close eye on that, as the officials will be. But this is brilliant racing.
This is a proper motor race. Up and down the field, and
Remind me to share a few thoughts that Brad Kettler and I were talking about down at the Audi Boardwalk Club. Here's Pipo Derani again having a look as they come through traffic. My goodness me, these GT cars are fast through here. Onto the high banks again, coming out of the bus stop.
that didn't help Pipo Derani, but
Did
it
not.
has helped Jordan Taylor. And those of you
But look-
wake up and not expecting to hear Jordan's name in the car, he has got back in the car this morning and he's clearly feeling better.
Had a throat infection and we didn't expect to see him again, but he has, well, he's pulling the Iron Man stint here. What is very noticeable, Graham, that is different from last year is that the performance levels of the Daytona prototype style prototypes and the P2s are very similar. Into, oh, Johnny Adams straight behind the wall,
What a shame.
for the Action Express. This is real drama, the 4th place car, and Johnny takes it straight into the garage, straight into the working area. Someone's going to get some great pictures who are down there as the racetrack comes back to life. So then there were 3 at the head of the field. Razzle Dazzle, Ryan DL up to 4th in the 90. And he's only 7 seconds away and half a second ahead of Andy Prio in the 0-1. Never count out Chip Ganassi.
Never count out Chip Ganassi. Never count out Chip Ganassi. This is not just a 3-horse race. It's at least 5.
Yeah, Tony Kanaan off the lead lap by 6, 7 laps now, as Pipo Derani is now back on the rear wing of Christian Fittipaldi and dives to the inside, goes to the outside, through the dummy down the inside. Couldn't get that one done. There's frustration, I think, within the cockpit of that Patron car.
Pace. He knows he's got pace. He knows that if he can get by that car, he can pull away. But he can't pass at the moment. That's where the frustration comes from, as they come around to complete the lap. And he's got to run. It's this time on the number 5.
Here it is, Graham. This is the best chance he's had. He goes to the outside really early as they come down underneath the IMSA radio booth and across the start-finish line. Derani will be scored as the leader, but he's got to get clear. Blue water between them, and down the inside, Christian Fittipaldi is holding on. He's toughing it out. You've got to give each other room here, guys, and Jordan Taylor is right there. Magnificent stuff. Real elbows out, race driving, but absolutely fair. And Jordan Taylor has a grandstand view, nowhere near the apex of the International Horseshoe for the number 5, Action Express car, and Christian Fittipaldi, he was just surviving at that point. And Durrani is piling the pressure on, comes down the inside into the west hairpin.
He's got him there.
But can he hold on to it again? He's on the wrong side. It's going to depend where the Ferrari goes ahead of him. It's one of the slower cars. And they're either side, and Durrani's off the circuit. He does the pass on the grass, somehow holds onto it and drops back into second place.
It's the boys from Brazil, and they are nuts. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. Back out onto the banking. Pippo Durrani desperate to get by. He knows he's got the pace here, John.
Well, this arena has been well known for global rallycross, and we had the fastest rallycross car in the world there for a moment. And Durrani's down the inside. Now he's got position into the bus stop, and there's no way that Christian Fittipaldi can hold that one off. The attack is successful. The back end of the Mustang sampling, number 5 car sliding around as Fittipaldi gets on the power early, and that compromised his exit. Here comes Jordan Taylor. It could be first down to third in the space of half a lap, but Durrani is in the lead for ESM and Patron. And he's already broken away, Graham, like a cork out of a bottle. He's been released, and he is off and running. And now Jordan Taylor will want to dispose, if he can, of the Action Express car in second place.
Fantastic stuff. Just another 6 hours of this. Wonderful.
Well, that's a FIA World Endurance Championship race as Durrani gets the encore on the screens of going round the outside of the number 63 Ferrari. Quite extraordinary manoeuvre on the grass. Got to wonder what Jordan Taylor was thinking at that point. Do I follow him? Do I not? Well, there's quite a bit of grip out there, apparently. Couldn't have done that on Thursday, could he?
Absolutely not. That would have been an interesting manoeuvre, wouldn't it?
Here comes Jordan Taylor, second place.
Heroic stuff from Jordan Taylor, who
Running.
cannot be 100%.
He's going to try and do the over and under.
He tried the same thing.
Yeah,
and,
almost on the grass. Fittipaldi is running out of grip. Was last in the pits 20 laps ago. Joe Bradley is our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Joe?
Yeah, well, I'm down in the Action Express pit, and these guys are gearing up. Felipe Albuquerque is suited and booted, so that car, I would think, is going to be on pit road this time by.
Well, that would be, I think, a little bit early. But given that the car is moving around, it could be that Fittipaldi has used up the Continental tyres. Jordan Taylor, for a moment, has had to just drop back a little bit from the second place car.
We had a quick shot of the Action Express garage with the wheeling car, this 31 car, receiving attention. Looked to me like attention to the rear left corner of that car. So Pippo Durrani already pulling away quite quickly here.
So do you think then that might have been something dragging on the ground rather than fluid coming out of it?
I don't know, John, is the honest answer.
It didn't look like that to me, if I'm honest.
It looked to me like fluid, like smoke from the left rear of the car. Certainly there were two guys looking at the left rear corner, bodywork off in the garage. I'm sure we'll get an update from the Continental Tire pit lane team as soon as they can find more detail, but unfortunately it has dropped that 31 car out of overall contention for the moment at least. Now 4 laps down and of course counting. It's not going to be long before Tony Kanan's car takes that place. So we've got another quick shot of the
well, Joe Bradley's down there, and we'll get to him if and when Fittipaldi dives into the pit lane. At IMSA Radio, we've broken social media on...
Sorry about that, internet.
Yeah, sorry everybody else in the world. Now, here's the GTLM battle.
Now, how did he get back to the front?
And
That's
the
all
Porsche
just
is back at the front. Some kind of cloaking device. It's got the number 2 on the side of the car, but it's actually leading. And this is Fred Makovecki, who was third when he went across the line. And the two Corvettes working together.
And the 68 cars there as well.
Almost bump drafting on the outside. They are definitely working together as a pair, the two Corvettes. And through goes Tonio Garcia. Tommy Milner tries to follow his teammate through. He might just do it. He's got the overlap. He's halfway by. It's not enough. The Porsche holds on to the inside through turn number 1. They're side by side on the exit. And even with the engine over the back wheels, they can't manage to get that car off the banking quick enough, off the turn quick enough. So Tonio Garcia and Tommy Milner carving their way through traffic. Marvellous stuff from the pair of Corvettes either side a moment or two ago of the number 20 bar 1 PC. Was there a little touch there? As we go back to live racing with the two Corvettes ahead of the field. Pictures, I think, from a little earlier on, just confusing
All of us.
tired eyes here. But a reminder of just how good the GTLM racing has been. And now the Pratt & Miller Corvettes are working together. This is absolutely the right thing to do. Huge amount to begin. Two cars are quicker than one on the banking.
Yep, Chevy Corvette has a V16 powertrain at the moment, lapping the Daytona International Speedway and doing a great job of it. Fred McAvicky is not that far behind, tenths behind this pair, but he's got a job on his hands now. These three have made a break. It's now the 25 BMW M6 GTLM of Augusto Farfus, a couple of seconds back from the top three. And they've managed to break away from the number 68 Scuderia Corsa car, further 3 seconds back. GTLM, marvellous.
GT, Andy Lally 44, Magnus Racing Audi, Jesse Krohn 97 in second, some 8 tenths, a whole 8 tenths behind, and Wolf Hensler is a couple of seconds back from that in the 23 Porsche. Pedro Lamy right there. That's there. We have races in every single category apart from PC, where Chris Miller could stop, order a drive-through breakfast, wash the car down, go and have a shower, and probably still be leading by the time he got back.
9 laps ahead in the 85 car.
Well, that's 20 minutes, isn't it, near enough?
Pipo Derani, meanwhile, 3.5 seconds to the good now, having made that break after, well, magnificent stuff.
And a raft of 140.1, 140.2, 140.2. That car has done a 39.1. Haven't seen it under 140 for a while. Its best lap was on lap number 6, whereas Jordan Taylor has put the best lap in for the 10 car. This is the Earling Jordan Taylor, remember. He's put that lap in of 140.4 just 7 laps ago.
Fantastic stuff. But Pipo Derani's fastest lap in this car was and stands as the fastest lap of the race.
39.1.
Now getting stuck into some of the GTD traffic.
What a contrast a couple of seasons have made. IMSA have worked with these two very different iterations of prototype, different philosophies, different design culture. Everybody said it couldn't be done. I thought it was a fool's errand. I will be honest with you, I never thought we'd be able to see the kind of performance balancing that we've seen, because I didn't believe the cars can be made to produce lap times that were not just similar, but produce them in the same way. But we've seen now the performance being so close on the infield, so close on the high banks. That's an extraordinary feat.
It's better than that. They can race, because even with similar performance, you can't necessarily race. They can race, and that's what we've seen from the off here. Yes, we've had P2 cars having a few problems and DP cars having a few problems, but when they've been up to speed, these cars can race each other and race well and race hard. That's the big difference that's actually been made over the last couple of years as they've honed this rule set.
I've just realised what's happening here. Here's me thinking here's me thinking I'm at a racetrack watching a race. In fact, what I'm actually doing is watching Tora, the Online Racing Association, and one of their endurance races. This cannot be real. This must be virtual reality. No one can carry on this kind of pace. Thank you, Declan, for suggesting that. I'm just through the infield and down through Venda Midway. I'm just seeing people, even in their tired state, with big smiles on their faces.
Enjoying it. It's a great event. Johnny Palmer was telling us, spending time actually in the stands early in the race, and that people were responding beautifully to the whole event.
And the stands are beginning to be populated again. People are coming back. There was a little queue at the Turn 4 tunnel.
And this is what's special about this event, as the second and third place cars thread their way through the GTD lead battle. This is Andy Lally just being passed by the two Corvette DPs. He leads GTD, but he leads a train of cars separated by about 2.5 seconds. 44 from 97, 23, and Pedro Lamy in the number 98 Aston Martin, catching Wolf Hensler.
At IMSA Radio.
That's a Renault Dauphine, isn't
it? It is Renault Dauphine. Convertible.
I can't do it that early in the morning either.
Yes. Convertible. Cabriolet.
So the two Corvette DPs battling for second. Peter Durrani 6 seconds now up the road. And that lead extending. Durrani consistently in the 140s. Not a pace at the moment. As these two do battle, they can match. What drama does this race still have in store for us,
Well,
John?
I thought after the first 4 or 5 hours that we'd seen that it would settle down. I actually went off too fast and burned me throat early, and I've been hoping that it would come back to me.
What I've been very impressed by is the GT3 cars. We had a number of pretty big incidents with these GT3 cars, but the teams have got them back out there.
Yes.
They've got them back out there, lapping consistently. That's going to be very important as we move forward. These cars are serviceable.
I was talking to Brad Kettler, who's the technical director for Audi Customer Sport Racing in the Audi Sport Customer Racing rather in the US, and Brad has a huge amount of experience of endurance races, has won Le Mans several times, multiple times, as a crew chief, and he was saying that the level of design on the new GT3 cars, this new crop of GT3 cars, never mind talking about the GTLM cars, is extraordinary. They are designed for 24-hour endurance racing. That's what they do, that's what they're built for, and therefore the serviceability is there. And he urged me to go down before I came back and have a look down the back of the pits, and if I could, see the tyres that were coming off some of the GT3 and GTLM cars. So I did. If Brad offers something, you take the advice. And what I noticed, the Michelin's coming off the GTLM Ferrari looked like they had not been on a car at all. That car is extraordinarily light on its tyres. And what that brings me, sorry Graham, but the point I want to make is there's a couple of things that I would like to see when people say, what if there's one thing you could change? The things I would change in this series is go back to not being able to tyre and fuel at the same time. Make those two separate operations. And then you reward the designers of the cars who are good on their tyres. Because if you can double and triple stint the tyres, there is a reward for that. We're all about efficiency in motor racing nowadays, and surely if you can use fewer sets of tyres, that should be a part of it. Also, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, it's much safer to split those two operations. If you've got the car up with wheels off, if there is a fire when you're refuelling, you can't push the car away. That car is then stationary. And I think engines off, fuel, then tyres is the way to go, not just for safety, but also I think it would add something to the strategy and the tactics. Even, you know, it doesn't really matter about those at the front of the field, because we've seen that the performance levels are so similar now, and we've also seen that people want to double stint tyres, particularly in the night here, because it keeps the heat in the tyres rather than having to take 2, 3, 4 laps before you get particularly the left-hand tyres, which do very little work round here because there's only 3 right-handers, before you get those left-hand tyres up to pressure.
To get an idea, a visual idea of what John's talking about here, and it all makes perfect sense, just take a look. Find a search engine. Have a look at Daily Sportscar. Go on. Other sites are available, they're just not as good.
You're allowed to say that.
I'm allowed to say that. So have a look back in the archive at 2006, 2007, at the very birth of GT3. Take a close look at some of those cars, particularly maybe the Porsche, the Ferrari, the Aston Martin, the Lamborghini. And have a look at the cars we're seeing here today. They are night and day away as we've got drama in turn one, John.
No, it's, I think that was a moment or two ago, certainly not live. We'll pick up the cars. It was one of the Turner
it's
BMWs.
The 97 car taking second position in GTD as Wolf Hensler goes wide in the heart of racing AJR car.
He got some help. He got some help from that BMW. A little hip check.
These are the top 4 in line astern now. That is Andy
into
Lally,
the bus stop.
Jesse Krohn, Wolf Hensler and Pedro Lamy.
Into the pit lane comes Christian Fittipaldi. Joe Bradley is down at the Action Express pit.
And as you would expect, bringing the car right onto its stop. We are having a driver change. Christian jumping out the car. Felipe Albuquerque will be the driver who takes the wheel of the number 5 Action Express DP. And the fueling being done. The tyres are already on the car. We'll have a word with Christy and just see where the drop-off in pace was for that car. He had nothing in the back pocket to fend off the Durrani car as the number 5 blasted its way out. That's what you could hear in the background. Fantastic.
Thank you, Joe Bradley. The other thing is now, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I'm trying not to call these DPs and LMP2s. They are just prototypes now. And it's not just because they're in the same class. We are getting that ability for them to race, and therefore the vision of IMSA has come to fruition.
And let's not forget for a single moment the car that dominated the early part of this race. It was the Delta Wing, and it was just a fortune of what actually happened at turn 1 with a stranded PC car catching out Andy Merrick, who hit that thing full square in the rear that eliminated a car that had led 3 times on pace. Not luck, not on pit strategy, on pace that car had led. And all of a sudden, you've got a prototype class that for this point in time at least makes absolute sense.
Well, I've said for a long time that IMSA have to look after their own constituency, and they have. They've not been frightened in the past to look at their own marketplace and understand that sometimes changes have to be made. And we're not talking about going off tangentially here from the world of endurance racing. Parallel tracks. And when you look at the adoption of FIA GT3, the retention of ACO GTE, or be it called GTLM, here, the links between North American sports car racing, the World Championship and the ACO regional championships around the world are undoubted and strong.
It's good to see, John, that you've got options in motorsport. You've got options in international motorsport. You've got options in international endurance motorsport. It's a healthy thing. What it means is that the organisers, the rule makers, try harder. It means they try harder to create a better show and a better product. And that's no bad thing.
No, not at all. Sebastian Tenkat, hello STC, says, agree with your note on pit stops. What's the point of saving 10 litres of fuel and then throwing away a full set of 4 usable tyres every stint? Makes no sense. Nick Holland, morning Nick. Good afternoon where you are, back in Europe. He says, great racing, but do we have to add a caveat that it works here at Daytona? Will it be as balanced as at other circuits? That's something we'll take up in a moment after we've heard from Christian Fittipaldi down at the Action Express pit in this Continental Tyre Pit Lane report with Joe Bradley.
Christian, that was a very exciting motor race for us to watch, but I would imagine you're very frustrated after that.
Well, the war is only over when it's over. Like, there's still 6 hours to go. I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that the BOP is definitely not on our side. But we're going to continue fighting like we did since lap 1, and we're still in the game. There's no doubt about it. Let's see what happens. As I said, there's a lot of racing to go, and anything can happen.
Christian, the car looked like it was slipping and sliding around. Was that you inducing that, or were the tyres going away?
No, I think it was all the DPs are slipping and sliding a little bit out there. We're pretty much hanging on for dear life, and we're running pretty much the same speed. Like it's changing 6 for a half a dozen. Maybe one car runs a little bit quicker than the other, but we're running the same speed. And the P2s, unfortunately, they are in a class of their own.
I've got to ask you, we had 2 Brazilian drivers there battling it out for the lead. What is it about Brazil that produces such fine racing drivers?
Well, I don't know. A bunch of people have asked me this question. I don't know what the answer is to that, but to be honest with you, I'm worried with my team and I'm worried with myself. So we're out there trying to win the race by all means. If we can, excellent. If we can't, hats off to the guys that did it.
Good stuff. Thanks, Christian, for the pally. Yeah, as you can see, the Action Express guys just staying with the programme, staying in the fight.
Far more agree with his final comment than the balance of performance one earlier on. I really don't think that flies here. The DPs have had advantage in the past with the way they've used their tyres, the way they've got their tyres up to temperature on restarts. We're not seeing them having that advantage here. On the P2 cars, we're seeing great racing and guys working really hard to make the passes. This is fine racing, and long may it continue. Going back to Nick Holland's point, the balance of performance for Daytona is substantially different from anywhere else. By the way, the number 31 Action Express car back out with Eric Curran at the wheel dropped down to 7th position after remedial work back in the garage area when Johnny Adam brought it in. Left rear they were looking at, clearly not an engine problem for that car. If it has, it's been fixed. When we get to Sebring, South Central Florida, 6 weeks time, Graham, are we going to have to see a raft of equalisation changes on every class to make sure that we continue to get the same racing? Because this is a circuit and a race like no other.
Yeah, we might well have to, but you know what? I do get tired of people moaning and groaning about balance of performance. It's not my favourite subject. I'm not fascinated by the nuances of it. I couldn't give tuppence for, a click here or a click there on ride height or gurney. I don't care. I want to see racing. And at the moment, I think you've just got to take a step away from this, particularly at the moment in a kind of transitional period, and say, there's nothing in it at the moment for a set of rule makers to put anything together other than something that produces great racing.
Great.
They're building a product. Let them get on with it. Let's get a little less fascinated with the nuances of a millimetre here and a click there. Don't care. What I care about is what we're seeing out here on this racetrack, and I hope we see at Sebring, and I hope we see for the rest of the year.
We're expecting to see Felipe Albuquerque at the head of the timing and scoring soon, the other Action Express car. Why, sayest thou? Because he's in 5th position at the moment and just on the end of the lead lap. Well, all of the cars ahead of him have got 20 laps less fuel aboard, so they will have to pit shortly and he will cycle through to the lead.
Oh, will he? Because Pipo Derani had about an 8-second lead over the. What's going to matter is how quickly they can get the cars through the pits, as we got the Corvette side by side again through the tri-oval.
Yeah, these guys are just playing at it at the moment as the leader comes through. I think these guys in the Corvette are just trying to break the back of Fred Makoviecki, who does not have a drafting partner, to use stock car parlance. And as we've seen here, yes, we don't use the full oval, but we use pretty much all of it, albeit, let's say, in 3 different parts, Graham.
Could be fun, though, couldn't it? Just for once. Could be fun.
I remember back in the early days of IMSA, where we were at Lowe's Motor Speedway, watching a Formula Mazda race. And there was about 37, 40 cars, which would all be line astern before they would come in at the braking area for the turn on the infield, when all of a sudden they'd be 47 wide. And the poor guy at the back who's getting the huge draft gets catapulted through 20 miles an hour quicker than he's ever been into that corner before.
I have been at this facility. I was passing, and there was clearly a race meeting on. I was here visiting a good friend, Russell Wittenberg, lives locally with my family, and SCCA meeting, and you've not lived until you've seen a Mazda MX-5 Cup race around these high banks and the shenanigans that go on there with bump drafting and God knows what else, but it was marvellous to watch.
I came in here, I think it was 2003 when I came here for the 4th of July meeting, the Paul Revere 250. Yes, to watch the sports cars, but also to watch the top two tiers of stock car racing plus a truck race, and being just a little bit further from where the grandstand ends now, about 4 rows back in turn 1, as a 42-car field of Cup cars comes round at full speed at the start of a race.
Does that get your attention?
It got my attention, yeah. You could not fail to notice that something was going on the circuit.
Hang on a minute, I think they're starting. You don't get the Silverstone press room feeling, do they, where you literally can have a race going on and not know it's happening?
No, there's no way that you aren't aware that something's going on. It was a drive shaft for the number 31, I'm hearing now. Josh Barrett has picked that up from social media.
I thought that might be where the guys were working on it. That was my initial thought, but it didn't seem to tally with what I was seeing on screen, but I'm more than happy to believe that's the case. Now, if it's all possible, just for the moment, it's slightly quieter out there. Pipo Derani nearly, 9.5 seconds ahead now of Jordan Taylor. The 2 from the 10 lead the race, with Andy Prio a further 10 seconds back in the 0-1 car.
Oh, lots of comments coming in on at IMSA Radio. GP Daithi, who is at Racer, says, can't agree with Christian Fittipaldi on balance of performance. Lap times of the top 4 are within tenths of each other. A number of other people saying yes, and it's not just the lap times, it's the fact that they are racing. Here, well said, Graham, says Matt Pig.
It's racing, you know, we're here to race.
Carol Brink, honestly, they all sound like cranky babies when they complain about POP. Yeah, thank you, Carol.
I've got words to say to Carol Brink later.
About the biscuits.
Damn you, Carol. Damn you. That diet.
Right Turn Lover says the pace of the number 2, which is just on pit road, is not balance of performance, it's balance of people. Is he the find of the 2015 WEC season? He might well be, RTL. Down in the pit lane then, I can see that this is a very, very standard pit stop. The door came open for a moment. No Continental tyres being proffered. This is fuel only. So here is a set of Continental tyres which are well able to do a double stint. And the heat will be in those tyres. No thought of putting a new set on as the 37 comes in. Pipo Derani goes out. He's lost the lead to Jordan Taylor, who's gone through and picked it up. He should be coming into the pit lane shortly as well, Graham.
Also on pit road at the moment, Sandy Prio in the 0-1 car and Randy L in the 90.
Andy Prio out, Alex Wirtz in. All of those cars stopped on lap 530, now 557.
Tony Kanaan brings that car, the 0-2 car, down pit road. Of course, still laps down, I'm afraid, that car. Clawed some of it back, but it's a long, long way back for that car for its early problems. Longer still for Eric Curran, 545 laps under the wheels of that car. That's 12 laps down. It's in 7th position, as John said, in class. 14th overall behind the GTLM pack.
And here comes Jordan Taylor. What a stint from him, not feeling very well at all. He's on the pit lane now. And rumbles gently down towards his pit box. Joe Bradley is our reporter in the pit lane at this hour. Joseph?
Yeah, sorry, John. Just standing by in the Ganassi pit. I can see, you can probably see as much of the Jordan Taylor pit stop than I can. It's on screen now. I'm going to stand by and get a word with our IHG Rewards driver, Andy Prio.
Bright red, sorry, Graham. Bright red number 1 on the side of that Corvette. Number 10, a little bit of wheel spin. Now, they did take tyres, and that was a driver change, as out jumped Jordan Taylor. Did you see who got in?
I didn't see who got in.
So
I think it might have been Max Angelelli.
Pipo Derani should be able to go through and take back the position. Where's Felipe Albuquerque? See, he hasn't cycled through to the lead as Paul Truswell thought he might.
Well, Pipo Derani has gone through.
So he's our new leader, back to the lead after those green flag pit stops.
And just waiting to see who is next in the order. I think it's the 10.
I think he's got out before, well, no, Wirtzi's got out, hasn't he? So Albuquerque's gone through in second now, so Derani has beaten Albuquerque around, so Paul was not quite right.
No, I think it's Derani, Taylor, Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Once this
so Albuquerque has jumped up, but not all the way to the top. Meantime,
38 car in trouble.
Sorry, Cribs, again. What number was that car?
38. I'm pretty certain that's the 38 car. That's Josh Norman's PC car, which is still shown as in the pits. The Performance Tech car. It's actually listed as a final runner at the moment, down in 46th position.
Right turn lover adds, just not sure whether it's smart to burn Durrani's drive time right now, only allowed to race 4 out of any 6 hours. We still have 5 hours and 22 minutes to go. Pipo Durrani's pit stop 1 minute 14.2 compared to the number 5 car with Albuquerque getting in 1 minute 17.5. So 3 seconds difference to include a driver change. It's not bad.
It's Durrani.
And you're right, by the way, the 10 has come through in second place with Max Angelelli now on board. 17 seconds, the lead now. Durrani back to Angelelli. Felipe Albuquerque's will be next through in the 5 car.
Which is why they didn't change the tyres. He thought he could do it on tyres, and they wanted to retain that track position.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. You don't lose any time by changing tyres. What you do gain is keeping the heat in the tyres.
That's a very good point. The very point you were making this morning.
Yes, that's all right.
It's my foggy brain this morning.
It's cool. It's cold. It's light, and we're tired.
Here are the lead cars in GTD. And 44 still leads the way from now 97 and 98.
Fabian W has tweeted at IMSA Radio, which comes directly to the booth here at Daytona International Speedway. Has ESM ruled out a start at Sebring, or is there a possibility you see them back there? No,
they are. They're going to start a car at Sebring. It may well be the last time we see an ESM car with the HPD engine.
Expect them to move to Nissan?
I believe so, for the WEC.
And right turn lover, A+ comment, says Eric Rude on the Durrani drive time, but still should have time for 3 stints towards the end, as the Corvettes have come in out of the lead of GTLM, or at least Antonio Garcia has. Tommy Milner in the 4 car stays out, so Kevin Estre gets back second place, and Victor Schaitar in the 72 Ferrari goes up into 3rd. Should run down the GTD places, the GT Daytona places. Still only 0.8 of a second between Andy Lally and Jesse Krohn. 44 Magnus Racing Audi against the 97 in second place. The 98 Aston of Pedro Lamy in 3rd is only a second and a half back. So 3 cars battling for the lead. And as I say that, Pedro Lamy has gone to the lead. Pedro Lamy from 3rd to 1st. And that's a big change.
That's because they pitted. The
other 2 are in the pit lane. I've just seen that.
Yeah.
Let's go down to Joe Bradley, who has another interview for us in this Continental Tyre Pit Lane Report.
Yeah, we're just going to step out of the way of the Corvette tyre guys. Antonio Garcia, that was great teamwork what we saw there. Was that deliberate drafting with the 2 Corvettes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially for the Tequila Endurance Championship. So that was the lap, and we have to make the move. And I mean, it kind of played out perfectly. I mean, we had that traffic into the bus stop, so we had around everybody from the bus stop. And at some point, Tommy, he had to. I mean, just grab me all the way to the checker, to the to the start-finish line, and I think we were actually 1-2 over the line. So that's perfect.
And was that something that between you out on the track that came to you, or was it the pit wall that instructed you to draft, or was that something that you and Tommy just decided?
That was more Tommy's decision. I mean, at the end, it played out for him too. So he went from being P3 to P2. So at the end, it's an overall Corvette win. So that's what it is.
Great stuff. That is so cool, Antonio. That is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah, and also very heads up, because what Antonio Garcia is talking about there is at various parts during this 24-hour race, and with 6 hours to go, that is one of them, at the 18-hour mark. There are points awarded in the Tequila Patron North American Endurance Championship. This is the championship within the IMSA WeatherTech Sportscar Championship for the longer races in the season. So Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, the Sale in 6 hours, and Petit Le Mans. And there will be an endurance championship. Those guys thinking so far ahead, Graham, to get the interim points.
Professional race team,
exactly
professional
what you'd
race
expect
drivers.
from Danny Brinks and Doug Feehan.
Absolutely. And I mean, Antonio Garcia, if you were to meet Antonio Garcia in the street in Civis, you'd think, what a nice man. What a nice man. What a gentle, kindly soul.
You wouldn't think that if he was sitting on your back bumper around here.
Baby-faced assassin.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Lock up there for the 911. Going out onto the high banking. Kevin Estre currently running in second position, cycling round. 18 seconds back from Tommy Milner, with Mike Roggenfeller now aboard the number 3 car. So again, the 911. Is that car in trouble?
No, it's coming in the pits, I think, this time around. Just got past as if it was standing still.
Yeah.
The 911. Estre 2:32 last time around. So he's just come out of the pits. That's why he's
I think he's got a puncture jump. I think he's got a puncture.
No,
he's got trouble. He's got trouble.
Well, he's literally just come out of the pits, so that would be very unlucky. Have they not put a wheel on properly? He's on the apron. Drive shaft. Drive shaft on the radio. Oh, my goodness. Kevin Estre knows all about Porsches. He lives, breathes and sleeps them. And that car, just having come out of the pits, a little bit of extra pressure on the drive line. And he's
that happened, John.
Left drive shaft.
That happened as the car was going out on. I thought it was a brake lockup. I think that was the puff of smoke that indicated time for Tubby bye-byes for that left drive shaft. Of course, it's a rear drive shaft. It's a rear drive car, the 911.
It is.
And watch this.
I think it was going up onto the banking, wasn't it? The transition from turn 6.
And watch this.
Goes down. That's a right front lockup.
Locks up there.
Well, that's because the back end of the car is not going where it should be wanting to go. Into the Core Autosport Porsche pit. And the wheel is off. And the inspection at the rear begins. I think it might be. No, the left rear wheel is still off. And
I'm happy for them under green.
yeah, that could not have been a worse time. They were fighting for the lead in category. This is the first stumble we've seen from the 2016 evolution of the Porsche 911 991 RSR, Graham. I think it's right hand as well, you know. I think they've got more problems than even Kevin Estre thinks, because the right rear wheel is at a jaunty angle. And meantime, in has come the 93 Viper out of the lead. Eric Voss out of the lead of GTD. Out on the track, we've got the 912 and the 25. Michael Christensen and Dirk Werner in the BMW. And Christensen will lose third place into turn 1. He might just be able to keep the nose of the Porsche in. He can't as the BMW M6 goes around the outside. Down to Joe Bradley.
The 93 Viper have had inserted into it their secret weapon in the form of Damien Faulkner. Damien is going to be doing a triple stint. He was just telling me on my walk back to the pit lane from breakfast this morning. They're expecting big things. Now this car's just come in from the lead of the GTD class, and they'll be wanting to get back out there and maintain that. Damien Faulkner now with the wheel of the 93, tyres and fuel.
Meantime, the 85 PC car is in the pit lane for more remedial work. That car is battle scarred, to say the least.
From the rear there as the car pulled away as well. It's had its dramas. I saw Stephen Simpson put better part of a minute on the field. The 911 car tried to get away and
it stalled in the middle of the pit lane. It hasn't got away. That is the Estre car.
now have they made?
I think the right rear doesn't look right to me as well. They were looking at the left, but just the camber angle of that rear wheel looked to be off to me. It's been pushed back to its pit. And the first chink in the armour.
It's going behind the wall.
This is going to go behind the wall, yeah.
That, I'm afraid, was a wrong call from somebody.
Oh dear. Not too far to go. Estrade turns the ignition off and back on again. So, first and second, still the two Corvettes, Tommy Milner and Mike Rockenfeller. In third now, Dirk Werner for BMW. So front-engined rear-wheel drive, bossing the top three positions at the moment. Then the 912. As the car went down, it pulled away. And
a puff of smoke again from a puff of smoke from the left-hand side.
There's something not right, and the crew member was kneeling on the ground, having a look, eyeing it up as you would a golf putt on a green with a complex set of borrow. And there's something not right with the rear end of that Porsche. Staff heading down to offer advice to the core team. Meantime, the second car, Michael Christensen is in fourth position, and he's got 7 seconds ahead of Alessandro Perguidi. 3 Corvette, from 25 BMW, from 912 Porsche, from 68 Ferrari, from 72. That's the SMP Ferrari, but they are on the lead lap. So the top 6 in GTLM still on the lead lap. GTD after the pit stop for the Viper. Marco Seefried in the 44 Magnus Racing Audi, still going to have to get used to saying that, is leading by 2.8 seconds now over Jesse Krohn. 97 car in second place from Ian James. Team Seattle, the heart of racing, Alex Job Racing car.
The car we're looking at the moment side by side with the factory car from GTLM.
And look at the speed of that GT3 car, Graham.
Absolutely blisteringly quick in a straight line.
Big shudder from the rear wing of the GTLM car as it catches the side draft coming off the banking down into turn 1. And Ian James, I was just about to say, Ian James just breathing in the middle of the corner to let the faster car through, but Ian very much pushing on.
No,
and
Michael Christensen not very happy with that.
Well, Ian is only 2.5 seconds behind a potential spot on the podium, and Michael's got to understand that that Porsche's in its own race.
I'm beginning to question whether or not Ian James knows that's the GTLM car.
I wonder if he thinks he's battling it for position. It's Matthias Lauda who's behind him in the Aston Martin.
Still doesn't give much way. Now he finally gets the 912 car back.
Well, there's the perfect illustration of the extra downforce of the GTLM car. Leader in GTD is Marco Seefried, the man who had a bit of an up and down season last year. Drove with Patrick Dempsey in the WEC.
He did.
Had a couple of very good runs, had a couple of drops. It's been a safe pair of hands so far in this 54th running of the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Sunshine just beginning to make itself felt through the high cloud here.
Now that delay, John, for the 912 Porsche has allowed the 25 BMW to get away pretty radically on that lap. And what had been...
Make a second on him, hasn't he?
Well, it had been a second the last time. I think he's going to be rather more than that this time through.
Rockenfeller 45.7 last time. 44.9 for Dirk.
5
Werner,
seconds.
48.1 for Michael Christensen. So
4 seconds. 4 seconds that cost him.
3.2. But yes, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. Shane van Gisbergen now in second position for the WeatherTech 22 Porsche. Meantime, back in the garage area, the 911 Porsche is up on the high jacks, and 1, 2, 3 grey suited mechanics with their Alpine Stars overalls are underneath the back of the car. The under trays coming off. Oh, and a problem for the 73.
Well, the 73's been behind the wall for quite a while. Patrick Lindsay back out on track, but in trouble again by the look of things.
And he's not going to make it past turn 6, and he very sportingly pulls off and onto the infield so as not to require any
full course caution.
Yeah, any recovery. I think that car is now dead stick, 17th in GT Daytona.
I wonder if he's got just enough to try to get it around the paddock the back way.
Doesn't look happy at all.
He's bringing it round on the access road, back to the paddock.
Yeah, that'll wake a few people up in their RVs, of which there are legion here this weekend. Some fantastic cars out there as well.
Aren't there just?
If you want to see just about every exotic machinery, piece of machinery, many of them are sporting for sale stickers as well, I noticed. As well as some very nice custom cars as well.
I think he's this is interesting. He's in a traffic jam.
Now, I couldn't get through there on a golf cart this morning, too wide. Stuck in behind a Jeep Wrangler at the moment. It's not our golf cart ahead of him, is it? No, it's not. Now, he's making decent progress through the back of the paddock and into the midway.
I've just realised what it is. He's realised it's last orders for breakfast at Marion's, and
clearly
he's got to get back there now.
Oh, he's got a motor coach right in front of him. The RV. Why is anybody bailing out at this time of day, by the way?
We are now commentating, John, on a traffic jam.
Yes, I've just realised that. And the two El Monterey motorhomes just making their way down. I think there's a bit of drafting going on between the two teammates. First one making a huge hole in the air because it's the size of a small bungalow. The issue is going to be, as Joe Bradley points out, has he got the right pass on to get to the infield?
If he's not got the Wednesday pass.
If he's not got the Sunday pass, he's in real trouble.
Have you got media parking, sir?
Pippa Tirani then now, almost 30 seconds to the good over Max Angelelli, who took about 7/10 of a second out of the leader last time around. Felipe Albuquerque is just 5 seconds behind Angelelli. 2, 10 and 5 your leaders, with Ryan Dial holding station in the 90 prototype in 4th position. In GTLM, Corvette 4 from Corvette 3 from BMW 25 from Porsche 912. Separated by, well, a handful of seconds, about 15, 16 seconds between those four.
GTD, it's Marco Seefried in the 44 Magnus Audi.
By nothing.
By nothing, 544 laps under the wheels of the R8. Ahead of the number 22 car, this is the WeatherTech HAR Porsche 911 GT3R in the hands of Shane van Gisbergen.
A decent little steerer,
a second, absolutely.
If ever there was one.
Hesse Krohn in the number 97 Turner Motorsports BMW M6 GT3.
He's only another 8/10 further back, Graham, so the top three in GTD separated by a scant 2 seconds.
Yep, then you've got a bit of a gap, about a 6-second gap back to the next pair, which is Ian James in the 23 car, the Heart of Racing Team Seattle AJR car. As the 73 car is almost back to the paddock now, has to pass the tram.
Yeah, those guys never thought they'd see the race car quite close up.
Flashing, that does work there. And then the number 98 car rounds out the top 20 overall and the top 5 in GTD. Matthias Lauda in the AMR.
I tell you what,
Aston
this
Martin.
is brilliant stuff by whoever is driving. Is it Patrick Lindsay in the
Patrick
73?
Lindsay.
He's done very well to even know how to get back to the pits that way, because it's quite integrated.
That has probably saved him five minutes at least for waiting for a tow.
Yeah.
So that's heads-up stuff from Patrick Lindsay.
I took Scott Atherton for a ride around the circuit on Thursday.
I saw him recovering earlier.
Yes, he's still having the therapy, and got into the paddock and couldn't find my way out again. So there is the 97 of Jesse Krohn. 3rd place, indicated by the green 3 on the side of the Turner Motorsport car. Debut for that. The SMP Ferrari, battle-scarred and weary in the pit lane, but still over 5 hours to go.
Yeah, hot topic at the moment out there on social media is it's kicking off, John, and I'm afraid you've opened Pandora's box. It's the appalling balance of performance, lack of of parity there between the mobile bungalows and the golf carts. I think that's something IMSA have really got to get a grip on.
Well, I mean, surely it's a fool's errand to try and BOP, two things that come from such disparate roots.
Outrageous thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
No possible way.
We've now broken the internet again. The Park Place Racing and RV battle in the infield was great.
Trouble for the 72 car, the S&P racing car. Had been getting back onto terms, and unfortunately that's another car that's going behind the wall. That's a beautiful Ferrari 488 with damage from earlier in the race to the front left of the car. This is
That's the under tray of the 911 Porsche. And there's oil in the engine under tray. So, yeah, and they have rags out underneath now. Oh dear, is that gearbox or engine? Engine oil seals on a flat 6, very, very difficult to get to this. They are working on a drive shaft on the left-hand side.
Was it output shaft?
Exhaust right in the middle of those new 991 iteration 911s. There shouldn't be fluid on that carbon fibre under tray. And a clear illustration there, if you're watching on the IMSA app or on IMSA.com, where you can see the pictures of why the new aero regulations at the back don't work for Porsche. The man who's cleaning that tray, that on all of the other GTLM cars, is a massive aerodynamic device. On the Porsche, it has to sit under the engine, and therefore they can't use that as a diffuser.
We did, however, see how quickly you can change one of those things, because Ford did it on the pit road in about 25 seconds.
Well, they have to, because that's a target, surely. 72, Johnny Palmer could just pick up the headset, of course, and put it on, which would be much easier. Johnny, what do you know about the 72 SMP car?
I was in the booth a bit further along. I say booth, it's a massive coffee shop, basically, and I've managed to get a ticket in there, so I'm happy for the next few hours. The 72 for...
Oh, we seem to have lost Johnny
Palmer. Just, oh dear.
Go on,
sorry. And his flag's been cancelled.
Yeah. Again.
Don't. I'm already on plan B as far as getting out here.
Plan Z now, isn't it? Thank you to American Airlines for sorting Johnny out, by the way.
Spewing out very oily smoke, the 72 car. That's an engine failure, I think, because they were straight to the rear end of that car.
Yeah.
And it's gone behind the wall. I wasn't surprised to see that.
How was breakfast at Marion's?
Didn't make as far as Marion's.
Right.
Saw David from IMSA as we were just getting into the lift, and Jeremy and I have had breakfast 2 doors down. Oh, you seem to have lost me again.
Yes, in the salubrious IMSA lounge.
Wonderful, yes. Incredibly salubrious and very welcoming, and I'm on my second latte, so I'm going to go back to that now.
Okay.
Is that rear wing as it should be
on the 22? It seems to be on the left-hand side leading edge. Just thank you, Johnny. It seems to be just twisting a little bit my eyes.
It might be
an optical delusion.
Yes, but it didn't seem quite right as it came off the bank.
I'll tell you what. Instead of looking at it on the television,
look at it live.
I'll look at it live.
It just seems to be bent back more than it possibly should. It might be an optical illusion.
I'll have a look at that as we go down to the Frickadelli pit, and Joe Bradley has Sabine Schmitz.
I have. She's just looking for something cold and wet. Sabine, how was that? You're enjoying the Daytona 24 hours. You've got a big smile on your face. You're obviously enjoying this event.
Yes, I'm enjoying it very much, but I'm too slow at the moment, so I missed the whole raw practice. I'm a little bit upset about that. So I get a rhythm, and I try to keep in the rhythm just to make nothing wrong, because the damage is the worst thing in the world in this race. So I keep the car in one piece, and now the boys have to keep up.
What do you think of the banking? It's not like it's just a huge carousel, is it?
Oh, it's so great. I love it. Especially on the yellow, when you are slow, then you see how steep it really is.
Can you compare, I mean, you're known as a specialist around the Nordschleife at the Nürburgring. What is the comparison that you can give us with the challenge of the Nordschleife and the challenge of the Daytona?
Yeah, the Nordschleife, I know it pretty well, so it's much easier for me. And I know the car, how it works there. You know, it's more fluid, and you have to be just focus on a good line and not too aggressive. And here you have to be very aggressive, very hard on the brakes. So that's really the biggest difference.
Now you're going to be very busy filling I'm from the UK, so I'm going to see you on my TV screen in the new Top Gear program. How's things going with that?
Oh, sorry, no comment.
Oh, really? You're not allowed to tell us?
You know, I'm all the time with Top Gear, but not as an host.
You're just taunting me with keeping it a surprise. So are you going to be getting into the Fricadelli Porsche before the finish?
No, that's it for now. This was my third stint, and I'm happy with that. Now they have to go back to the front.
Okay, Sabine, thanks for talking to us. That's great. Sabine Schmitz there. Not giving anything away about Top Gear, are they?
No, indeed not. Confirmation from Porsche that they have had to change the drive shaft of the 911 car. Thank you to Martin Haven for tweeting that through. Bibendum looking great for a 104-year-old, just being delivered to one of his myriad of gigs. Just a quick word on Sabine Schmitz. I worked with her in a Top Gear Live a couple of years ago. She is one of the most funny people in terms of humorous, sense of humour people. Obviously an excellent driver. Oh, garden Jenga going on there.